Welcome, guys, and welcome back to the Millennium Five Facebook page, weekly video edition that I like to do every week. I'm trying to keep up on that promise, and last week you did get two, so I suppose you can't complain. Right, you're probably wondering to yourself, what on earth are we looking at? Well, we're looking at a very muscular young man there. What I thought I'd show you today is how I actually draw the characters from scratch. As I said before, I use reference, even though I can draw superheroes, and that's something I started from when I was a very young age. It doesn't pay to have to draw the figures from scratch every single time, especially if it's for a particular pose that you want, that you know, you just want the pose to do the person doing something. In this case, he's not really doing much, he's just posing, yeah? And sometimes you don't want to spend time and energy and brain power figuring out where the arm goes and everything like that. So for me and a lot of other artists, you just get a bit of reference, use that, and it just saves a lot of time. It saves an awful lot of time. So I'm going to show you how I actually go about doing it. So now what I've got here on one layer, and you can see here on this layer, I have the actual figure. I can turn it on and off. And behind, under him and this layer, I have a white box, and above that there's a layer that is invisible. There's nothing on it. That is where the sketch of the character is going to go. Now this is going to be Kurori. Here's the individual who I did a sample of the story for just a while ago, a couple of days ago, when he's in Piccadilly Circus and being a bit of a glory hound. But I don't have any. I've only drawn him once before. His uniform is green, so, and all the uniforms are pretty much the same. So what I'm going to do is use for reference to figure out how his costume looks is going to use Lekix's costume. It's pretty much the same anyway, except for, of course, he doesn't have the skirt thing and he doesn't have the tassel, but pretty much, and the boots are slightly different, but pretty much the same, with the kind of lap over double-breasted thing there and the straps. The belt is pretty much the same. So I'm going to use that as a rough reference for now. Now the first thing I'm going to do is, because if I grab a pen, ching, and I grab a black pen, and I make the nib of the pen that, no, that's a bit too big, that kind of thickness, right? Say 3, 4. Now if I start drawing on it, you can see the line, yeah? But sometimes when you're drawing things up in this region here, you see you can't see the line. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to undo all of that. And what I'm going to do to make it easier for myself to see what I'm doing, I'm going to go back to the layer of him, and I'm going to bring him down in opacity. Fade him out, basically. I can still see all the details pretty much, and I don't need to see too much detail of his face anyway, because I'm going to put a uniform over him. So I just need to see a basic outline. So as usual, I'm going to start with the head. You can see I've knocked him back a bit. He's a bit faded. Okay, let's get rid of this with the rubber, right? It doesn't matter, I leave it, right? Then I'm going to start with the helmet, okay? Okay. Now, the helmet is very similar. If you've seen the latest version of RoboCop, you will see that his helmet is very similar. Their helmet is very similar to that of the latest RoboCop. Now, somebody said to me a while ago, "Oh, Khalil, it looks so much like RoboCop." The fact is that when you're drawing helmets, unless you're going to do something particularly outlandish, it's very, very difficult to do something that is going to be really original. And that is going to be, I was going to use the word attractive, but attractive is not the correct word. That looks kind of nice. You can do some funky, I've seen some funky looking helmets, but they look so outlandish that they're not exactly what I would say is called kind of user friendly. And the whole thing about Millennium Five is that they're meant to be user friendly. They're meant to be something that people can relate to, and I don't want it to look too weird or too outlandish or too alien or just too strange for people to get their head around. So I've tried to keep it as standard looking as possible. As I said, there's only so much you can do. Right, you can see while I was talking there, I've sketched in the helmet, and if I take off the background, you see, look what I've done. I've drawn the helmet on the character, I always do that. So what I'm gonna have to do now is undo the entire thing. Just hold down the Control Z. Goodness me, see? This is one of the problems with, it's not a problem, you just have to be more aware of what you're doing when you're drawing. Remember I said I made a separate layer above. This layer here is for the sketch, but I sketched it on the character. So let me click on that layer, go back to this, and then I begin to draw in again. I'm going to make that brush smaller. Draw in again the helmet. Okay, like this. Goodness me, the other day I was working on one of the illustrations, and that's exactly what I kept doing over and over and over. I kept drawing on the layer where the actual person is, and I don't want to do that. I want to draw on the layer above it. And I'll show you exactly why. See, I've done a quick initial sketch there, yeah? So if I turn off him, we're left with only the sketch of the character. Yeah, we don't want them to be connected, because when you come to color in later on and everything else and mess around with it, you don't want to have the characters, the reference piece there. Of course not. So I've started again here with his helmet. Just going to put in roughly. This is going to be Kurori, as I said. He's a Pakistani gentleman. He lives in the UK. Former policeman. Used to call him the whiz kid of the Met. Now, of course, all of my characters are in peak physical fitness. They can't do what they do and be couch potatoes or keyboard warriors like so many of us are. Yes, that's right. Have a bit of a diggly, right? So, even though this man that I'm using as reference is very cut, yeah, for my purposes, I'm still going to bulk Kururi out for a number of reasons. Reason number one, of course, he's wearing a uniform, and no uniform clings like skin tight. Even though you've seen costumes and in other things like Spider-Man. Spider-Man is a totally different concept. He is literally wearing a skin tight costume. So you're going to see all the contours of his body. What he's wearing here is more padded. It's for protection. So, of course, it's not going to cling to his body. You're not going to see his muscles sticking out. So that means every time I draw the character here, I have to kind of imagine where it would sit on the outside of his body. Yeah. So, for example, the brace, you see she's got that the yellow brace going around her shoulders. I have to imagine where would that yellow brace go for him, because he's got one too. It's going to be something like this. I'm just going to knock in the general shape first. And I'll do the same one for here. Like that. And it's got some kind of round things here. Here's one. And as I said, I don't have the reference for him, so I don't know what it looks like. But I'm just going to knock in the basic shape. Now you can see she's got these shoulder pad things. He's going to have the same thing. But of course, it's not going to be right on the edge of his skin. It's going to be here something like outside, because it's padded. Okay. And I like to give them bigger muscles as well. My characters, including the women, have the most incredible muscles. This is my attempt, and it's got these arm pads here, elbow pads here. This is my attempt to bring a bit of realism into these characters. I can't stand to see these Hollywood female heroes looking stick thin, and they're kicking butt left, right, and center. It just doesn't go for me. Sorry. I know you can practice, you can train to the point where you've got the skill and you've got the grace, and it's not about size, it's about technique. Yeah, whatever. I'm sure that is very true. No doubts about it. But for visual purposes and for practical purposes, to look credible, I believe in giving them muscles, so you believe this person can take you down if they have to, regardless of all the weapons that Millennium 5 use. If it comes down to a hand-to-hand combat, they are more than capable of kicking you all over the shop. So and this, as I said, includes the women. You know, these women, especially the Kicks, is a former soldier. You know, soldiers train, they work out, they do training. I remember years ago we went to Scaffold Pike, fundraiser for a local mosque here in Milton Keynes, and we saw. It took us 8 hours to climb up that mountain, and we saw the army personnel running up those hills like it was nothing, mate. So it goes to show these guys, we know these soldiers, they ain't playing at all. So I try to infuse some of that into my characters. As I said, the women as well. Obviously, the kicks is going to be a lot bigger than Gadgetana. Gadgetana has not really been that physical. She's been more kind of mental, but she's still, because she's into extreme sports, she does have a very high degree of fitness about her as well. She obviously does some kind of martial arts as well. So anyway, while I've been talking out, you can see I've been sketching out his body armor. Let me just get rid of him. So you can see there already, very quickly. As I said, again, you know, for me to do it properly and to do it justice, it's going to take a lot longer than my phone has memory to allow it. So I'm going to just knock in the basic shapes as well. Now you can see she's got the belts with the pouches. I'm going to knock those belts in with the pouches with him as well. Now this, as I said, is Korori, and Korori tends to be a little bit full of himself. And just in case you're not sure, the word Korori, as I researched it, and Korori is the name of a bow, as in bow and arrow, that was used in ancient India, I think it was. So he's a bow. He's a weapon. He represents a weapon basically. So that's why I called him that. So you can see I'm still knocking in the basics here. Let's just get his shoulder pad in here, and his arms with his very strong arms there. Okay, and I've drawn his cuff gauntlets with all these array of. It looks very simple. All it has on the outside is this large orb thing, and on the inside, on the other side, it has the keypad. It looks very simple, but it has many uses as well. It emits a shield. It does collect other information and stuff as well like that. You can see now I'm bulking out his legs because this guy is cool. There's no doubts this guy has been working out, but as I said, for visual purposes, I need to make him a little bit more impressive looking, credible looking as well. And especially a man of Kurori's what's the word I'm looking for? Temperament. He's definitely going to be one looking after himself in the gym. Oh man, yeah, that's right, boy. These are real people. I'm not going to make my characters. I'm not interested in making my characters goody two shoes. Nah, it's not going to happen. Not going to happen. They're real people, mate, and they have their real flaws and everything else. And this is what Kurori, in as much as anybody else can be a human, this is what he represents. You know, that he's not perfect. He has his flaws. He has a good heart, but he has his own idiosyncrasies and his own likes and dislikes. And if you did read the piece that I put on the wall, or if you haven't, you need to go and check it out. Every 2 or 3 weeks or so, I'd like to put a sample of the manuscript on the wall there to read. If you haven't read it so far, by all means, just scan the page there somewhere. It's going to be there somewhere. And he's got 2 guns, isn't he? He's got 2 guns, yeah. He's got 2 guns. That's really cool. And you just see the ability to now draw the gun even bigger, because I've got the basics, but their guns are huge. Of course, their guns are huge. If they're gonna have regular sized guns that you can just, their guns are huge, man. Let me just turn off the back layer. Okay, I forgot what I was gonna say now about Kurori. But basically, oops, sorry. Oh, Khalil, put it down. We can't see what you're drawing. So there you go, guys. Very basic. I'm trying to get his crotch to look half decent. It doesn't look very decent. Never mind. Calm down out there. Calm down. These have knee pads. There you go. So there you go. A very quick one again. As I said, for me to go through it carefully to properly would take me a lot longer. I would probably spend the time that we've just talked now. It would I would probably take that entire time just to get the helmet and the upper part of his body to this level. But as I said, I'm merely knocking it in for you guys very quickly to show you how I go about creating the characters, because there are so many different steps to the creation of these characters, and as I said before, they're still in my video, they're still in flux, they could still change, and of course your input is valuable, invaluable, or valuable, whatever, to that process. So if you have any comments at all, any suggestions, any criticisms, I'd love to hear from you. It all goes into a little box in my brain. So definitely, you see, I've made him kind of sneering there actually, but I shouldn't make him sneer. It's kind of evil, not evil, but he's sad. He should, because it's Kurori. Kurori is just so sarcastic. So how do I do it? Now he looks angry now, and he's got his goatee there. Yeah, so your criticisms, your points. If you read through the sample manuscript and you think, oh, maybe such and such, by all means, I need your input. I want your input. I want to hear what you've got to say, because I always find that people have interesting things to say, and their input is valuable. I have made many changes to my work because of what people have suggested. So I'm not proud at all. I'm not proud about having to change something if I think their argument has merit, or I think they have something which is constructive. And nobody knows what they're going to say, which is going to make a difference, because everybody has their own opinion, and those opinions, I believe, have to be respected as well, inshallah. Okay, guys, I'm going to stop right there. We've gone a couple of minutes over the time I intended to, but you can see again, roughly, let me just zoom out a little bit. So you can kind of see the full body. Again, I'm going to turn on the original, show you the original by itself, and then show the character that I've just sketched there. Okay. Ooh, nice one. Yeah, I like that. It's okay. It's a good start. It's a good start. Again, see, the reflection on his helmet would be like this, like hers is. Like hers is. Oh God, it's not focused. His would be exactly the same. Exactly the same, like that. And then his color is green, not a lime green, but a nice dark emerald green. Also, if anybody has any idea as to, I have a few ideas myself, but if you have any ideas as to why they wear the colorful uniforms that they wear, if you talk about being realism, why on earth would real soldier type people have colorful uniforms like that? It doesn't sound very practical to me. In fact, it makes them sound like a target. So if you have any reasons, rationale behind why they why they have these colorful uniforms, color coded, I'd like to hear your suggestion. As I said, I have a few ideas of my own, but if you have anything you'd like to contribute to that, I'd love to hear from you. All right, guys, thanks again for watching. Please keep liking the page and sharing it as well, inshallah. And my other videos, don't forget to subscribe to the channel as well, as we go on with the Millennium 5 project. It's very exciting, and I'm looking forward to hearing from you mans out there. Take care, one and all. Thank you. Assalamu alaikum.